The thing I hate the most is when I go to tow something and the entire back of the Cybertruck just falls off and falls apart. Now, the Cybertruck does use a lot of energy compared to other electric vehicles, by the way, not compared to gas pickup trucks. And that's why you want solar panels for sure. So check out Drone Quote below, sponsoring this portion of the video. Totally free. Just use their website. They'll come out. They'll give you quotes from all the local solar installers in your area. You can decide which one is the best. They'll give you the best prices, and they'll even help you decide if solar is even right for you, if you should even get it. So I have really been enjoying my Cybertruck, but obviously nothing is perfect. And so in this video, we're going to go through the Cybertruck, and I'm going to tell you about my annoyances with the Cybertruck after I've been owning it as a daily driver for a while now. The point of my channel is not to just say everything good about Tesla or everything bad. It's to show the real experience of owning these vehicles when you don't have a whole fleet of vehicles or you don't just get a review vehicle for a day or something. This is my daily driver. I rely on this thing and I use it daily. And so I want to go through some of the things that I've noticed that I don't like or are annoying so that people out there who are thinking about buying the Cybertruck can have that information and take that into account. Now, the things I say, maybe you don't agree. Maybe you think that's not a big deal. Maybe it's not annoying. These are just what I've noticed as I use it and I find annoying. Maybe, you know, you won't agree with them. Personally, if you're thinking about buying a Cybertruck, I've been getting the question a ton lately. Should I go through, you know, I can order my Foundation series now. Should I wait for the price drop? Personally, I think most people should probably wait for the price drop. I mean, Tesla is literally telling us they're going to drop it by 20 grand, but you never know if things change. Number one, maybe they only drop the price 10 grand and then you miss out on the upgraded wheels and you miss out on all the accessories that you get with it and you don't get FSD and blah, blah, blah. They could actually change the offering of what non-foundation means. Also, we don't know how long you'll be waiting. Personally, I've been saying non-foundation is probably going to start in January. I don't know if that's true, but that's just kind of been my guess ever since this whole thing started. And I still am sticking to that. I really think we're not going to see non-foundation start until January of 2025. And if you're all the way at the back of the line, you may be waiting a whole nother year, you know, or a year and a half or 2 years. And if you're not okay with that, you know, maybe jump on it now. So of course it's a personal decision. I think for most people, it's probably best to save the money. And you'll see why with some of these things I'm going to mention that I'm annoyed with. But overall, I want to throw that in there because I've been getting it a lot. If you want it, get it. It's been awesome, but maybe save the money. Wait, get a later version that's possibly better built and spend less money. Now, if hearing things that I don't like about the Cybertruck is gonna make you mad or upset or sad, I do have another video that I will link above where I talk about all the things I really like about the Cybertruck, kind of my favorite features and maybe things I didn't expect to like, but I really do. All right, let's just start here front to back. So I wanna go into the front first. Now, there's a lot of conversation about the front size. For me personally, again, these are my opinions, maybe you disagree. For me, the front size has been really good. What I don't like about the front though, is there's no outlets. So there is low voltage power here if you have like an accessory that you want to power up, but this should have a NEMA 520 outlet, just like you have two in the bed in the back. This should also have an outlet up here. That's really disappointing that there's no outlet in the front. I will mention the stainless steel exterior. I love the fact that there's no paint, and I do like the stainless steel in general, but I have to mention, if you care about cleanliness, the stainless steel is really hard to clean. Now, of course, my cars are always dirty, haha, the name of my channel, but I did always like just running through a car wash really quick, and then the car looks like brand new pretty much. I don't care about paint swirls and all that. That's, I don't know, people get obsessed with that. But I always thought that was great. With the Cybertruck, in my experience, for the most part, you can't, when you have the stainless steel, just run it through a car wash and get it washed. It leaves behind all these weird looking marks and, you know, you can clean them off at home. It's not like the stainless steel gets ruined or anything, but you can't simply go through a quick car wash, you know, pay the $5 or whatever and have it look like new. There's gonna be all kinds of weird stuff all over it. I don't know if it's oils from your hands that don't get completely washed off or exactly what it is, but it was all over the truck. And so I think that's why you're seeing a lot of people wrap these, because wraps are way easier to clean. It does also look really nice. Overall, at the end of the day, I don't think most people need to wrap, but if it's something you're into, I would add that to kind of your total cost if you really care about cleanliness. If you're never gonna wash it, then it doesn't matter. So the bed has been great. That's kind of why you buy a truck, is you want a truck bed. And I've used it quite a bit. I've transported lots of stuff in here, and having the tonneau cover, you know, to keep it locked and secured when I park somewhere for a while is great, but this is not things I love. Getting into the bed is super annoying. There's not a great way to get into the bed. Of course, I have it on the high suspension now just for the video, but even when it's on the low suspension, you know, you can kind of step up on here, or on here, I mean, but it'd be nice if there was a step in here just to be a little bit lower, or as they showed on the unveil back in 2019, of course, a lot of things changed, but they were gonna have a built-in ramp. That would have been awesome. I loaded a generator in here, like a portable generator. That thing was so heavy, I about broke my back doing it because there wasn't a great way to get it up in there. So yeah, that's kind of annoying getting in and out of the bed. And as people have pointed out endlessly, the shape of this makes it so reaching into the bed all the way in the back here is not the easiest. So a traditional truck, of course, would probably still be here and you could reach in a lot easier. But even on the low suspension, on the entry setting, on its lowest suspension settings, getting anything that's, you know, kind of slid to the back is kind of annoying, which is why I added this, so that if I don't have bigger cargo, I can, you know, put things here and they won't slide away and I can reach them. And if I have bigger cargo, that comes out in like 2 seconds. And then being in this back area, no spare tire spot is pretty annoying. Tesla offers a spare tire that you can purchase from them, but it just straps into the back. So you don't need to buy the thing from Tesla. You could just get whatever one you want, and you could strap whatever one you want in the back. We do have this storage here, which I do use, as you can see, and I appreciate and I like. But if they could have refinagled all of this somehow to make this a spare tire spot, personally, I think I would have liked that better, just for that peace of mind, especially on road trips, or if you do take this off-roading, it'd be nice to have an extra tire. All right, let's head back to the front here. I hate to say it, but the windshield wiper is actually pretty annoying. So the thing that's funny about it is in moderate to heavy rain, it works great. I mean, it's a windshield wiper. The way it works, the way it cleans off the windscreen, there's nothing special about it. It does what it needs to do. You can see when it's raining. When it's annoying is in a couple of different circumstances, mostly when you have really light water on here. So if it's just like misting out or barely raining, or say the roads are wet and the cars in front of you are kicking up some water onto your windshield, the wiper, the way it works, because there's no drop off here, any water from here all the way down to here is going to affect your driving, because the faster you go, it'll push the water up. Now, what Tesla has done to kind of solve for that is when the wiper is active, so you have it on any speed setting, like it's on doing something, when you're going higher speeds, it'll rest down here. And it will stay down here to kind of keep water from moving up the windshield from the wind. Now, that does work pretty well, but the windshield is flopping around all over the place because it's resting here and the wind is hitting it. And so it's just kind of jiggling a little bit. And you can see that, which is just kind of weird looking. It doesn't look that great. And on the, I think it's the up, I can't remember, but the up movement misses water. It's always missing a spot. And then on the down, it does get it. So again, it does clear off the windshield, but when it's really light, misty rain, it doesn't work that well. And you can't leave the windshield off, because even in that light, misty rain, everything builds up right here and will come up and block your view. And then another really weird case that I would have never thought about without experiencing it is condensation. So when I come out in the morning, if I don't preheat long enough, which, you know, it's summer, so I don't usually preheat, the entire windshield is covered with condensation. No big deal. You just wipe one time, it gets rid of all the condensation. We're all good. But what it does is it pushes all the water right here. So as you start driving and driving faster, now all that condensation is coming up on your windshield. And this is basically a daily occurrence for me. It sounds minor, but it is annoying enough for me to tell you about it. And that little bit of condensation comes up here, and then you get the issue where there's really not enough water for this huge, gigantic blade to smoothly go across your windshield. And it'll be squeaking, and it'll kind of get most of the water, and then it'll stay down here because you're going fast, but now there's no water, so you want to turn it off. And sometimes when you turn it off, it stays down here even though it's off, and it's just weird. So unfortunately, although the windshield works, it is annoying. Now, we'll stay outside for this one, but I'm going to complain a bit about no higher range options. Now, yes, you can get the range extender, which will get this trim up to 470 miles of range, which is excellent, and I would love that. But it's an additional $16,000 and takes a bunch of your bed space. So for me, if it wasn't for the money, I may do that because I could live with the less bed space, although I don't tow. The main reason I wanted this is for the bed, to move stuff around in the bed. And so I may run into issues where I get super annoyed that there's all that extra weight and space taken up back there by that battery that, quite honestly, I don't need most of the time. Now, especially in the summer and the spring and even the fall, the 300-ish miles of range, which around town driving, I'm getting closer to 350 miles, even with these tires, and highway driving, I'm getting closer to maybe 260 to 280 miles, is good. Where I want that extra range especially is in the winter. When you do a lot of driving around town, and you make stops here and there, you will use a lot of range in the winter, especially as you keep parking and then starting the car up again. It uses a lot of energy. And so, yeah, it has 300 miles of range, but on a cold winter day with a lot of different stops, even just with it around town driving, you're going to be getting, 70% of your battery or so. And that is where someone like me really wants that 450, 500, or even just 400 miles of range, so that when it's reduced in the winter, we have enough where we can still do everything we want and not have to worry about it. Now, I do got to add the caveat here. I know this is the video telling you about things I don't like. I do have to say, the fact is 99% of the time, I don't need that extra range. So I get why they did what they did, especially with price and manufacturing and blah, blah, blah. But that's not my problem. I'm not the manufacturer, I'm the customer. And I want the option of a Cybertruck without a huge block in the back having a higher range. Chevy did it with the Silverado. I think Tesla should have been able to do it as well. Now look at these wheels. If I hadn't spent, 20 bucks or whatever on this stupid little plastic circle here, look at this. This is how this was delivered. Look at that. Tesla delivered it like this because the wheel cap that was supposed to be on here got recalled because it was rubbing into the rubber. All good, things happen. I'm pretty forgiving of that. But we are, these deliveries, initial deliveries started in, I think, November of last year. And I've owned this thing for like almost 5 months now. They've been delivering them. We're approaching a year of Cybertruck deliveries. And still, they are not giving these wheel caps to customers. To deliver like this, it's unfinished, it looks awful, and Tesla could have spent $1 per Cybertruck getting something here, at least to fill this area here, let alone these center caps, which are the same size as the other Tesla vehicles. So you could use the same Tesla hex caps that Tesla probably already has for their other vehicles and just threw them on the Cybertruck, made them black, made it look a little nicer. And this leads into kind of all the unfinished stuff, because we have these, it's still, we're still waiting for these. Tesla said, oh yeah, we're gonna get them to you as soon as they're done. It's been a long time, they're still not done. We have full self-driving. We have other software features that are still not delivered. And they made us pay for full self-driving, which, you can argue that they didn't make us. I agreed to buy the truck for the price I paid. I knew, what I was getting into at the time. But you have to buy full self-driving as of today still to get this truck delivered to you. But full self-driving doesn't even work. And it's been so long. It's not like the Cybertruck was a surprise. Tesla announced this vehicle in 2019. And still, we're like 5 years later, 6 years later, you can't get FSD working on this vehicle. It's just strange. Some of the solutions are they could have had a single Cybertruck mock-up that they were driving around to get data. They could have repositioned cameras on their other cars to mock, the cameras in this vehicle. Especially when you think about Elon talking about licensing FSD to other OEMs, like saying, people speculate that Ford is going to use Tesla's autopilot or FSD. They can even get it on their own vehicle in like a year or 6 years, depending on how you look at it. That idea doesn't look so good. The other missing feature that I'm really disappointed about is power share. And so the Cybertruck can backfeed electricity to power your house in the case of a power outage, which is great. Now, some people have this working, and that is if you don't have power walls and you needed the additional hardware installed in your home to kind of interface with this. It's basically the shutoff switch so that your Cybertruck won't connect to the grid in the case of a power outage. If you got that installed, people have that working, and they've had it working for a few months. But those of us who have power walls in our house backing up our homes don't need any additional hardware to get this working. We need additional software, which Tesla still has not provided to us. So let me just put my piece of plastic back in here. All right, and then the last thing I'll do on the exterior, I actually don't have much on the interior, but the absence of HomeLink. So HomeLink is, some hardware you can get from Tesla. It used to be included in the cars. It's still included in S and X. It just comes with those cars. 3 and Y, you can get it you can get it from Tesla after delivery. I think it's $300 if they haven't changed the price. Cybertruck has no option for HomeLink. You can't even get it installed even if you pay for it. I don't know if that's because it can't get through the stainless steel or what the deal is with that, but it's pretty annoying. Now, HomeLink is something I don't usually pay for because I don't need to pay $300. I can just use the button that came with my garage door, and that works on any car I'm driving at any time. But it was something on Cybertruck. I was like, all right, I'm gonna splurge for it. I'm gonna get it. I'm keeping Cybertruck a long time. That's the plan anyway. And now I can't get it. So again, the fact that it's not even an option is pretty disappointing. So I talked about the unfinished software. Most of the things are working pretty well now, but the power share is kind of the biggest thing for me that I'm still a little disappointed in. The other thing I want to mention is talking about the backup cameras. So if we go here, one of my complaints with the backup camera is that it did not have a washer on it, and mine would get dirty on the dirt roads pretty much anytime it rains and you drive on dirt roads. My camera would be dirty and covered in mud, and I know in the winter, because I already drove this in snow one time, it's going to get covered in snow. Now, I installed an aftermarket solution. I will link to that above, but I think this should have been by default had a washer on it, just like the front camera has a washer. Now, the other thing I don't like, if we click, there's a button on the steering wheel here, which you can click to bring up the cameras, and it works really well. It's actually pretty smart, but let me bring up, but if I put us in drive really quick here, you can see the rear view camera, and it works pretty well, but I'm still gonna complain about it a little bit. And I don't have like a great solution to my complaints here, but I do want to bring it up because, again, if you're thinking of purchasing the Cybertruck, I think it's worth noting. Now, this is probably one of the weirdest things. It took me a while to get used to of any Tesla ever coming, from traditional cars. But once you get used to it, I love the fact, like this isn't a video about what I love, but I gotta say it. There's no obstructions of your back seats or your C-pillars or anything like that. Like, you can just see clear as day everything behind you. And personally, my complaint is not that the rearview mirror isn't up there, because this is actually closer to your eyes than where the traditional rearview mirror spot is, especially if you put it here. This is a lot quicker. I do wish, so you can see here it's bigger on this side. I wish we could have the bigger shape over here. If maybe it would go up here, move all that stuff down and kind of fill up this whole space, we would have a little bit bigger. That would be nice. And seeing distant objects is just a little difficult, and I don't know if they would just need to change the hardware of the camera that they put back there. I think it may be a little bit too much of a wide angle, and that's why that's happening. But it's something you notice. So I will often also be checking my side mirrors so that I can kind of double check what I'm seeing in this mirror. The other thing I don't like is when you turn on the turn signal, the blind spot camera comes up. And I absolutely love this blind spot camera, and it makes highway driving and lane changing so much easier and safer. It is unbelievable. But the thing I don't like is it gets rid of your rear view mirror, so you can only see one camera at a time. And I was thinking, well, Tesla doesn't really have the, of course they could develop some software, but as of now, they don't really have the software to display both of these at the same time. But that's not true. If you hop into Tesla's off-road mode, which I have now put the car in, at the top, you have the rear view camera and both side cameras. This is freaking awesome. And I wish this was available in normal road driving. And this was not my idea. I'll put up the post from X that I saw that kind of was asking for this feature. But this Tesla definitely needs to implement this. If this was here, I'd have no complaints about the rear view situation at all. Like, if I could see this at all times, just like up here or even up there, oh my goodness, that would just be beautiful. This wireless charger is absolutely useless. This thing gets so hot, and I think for a couple of reasons it's even worse than in any other Tesla vehicles. But you can only charge your phone on here if it's not winter time for a few minutes before pretty much any phone I've tried will either stop charging or charge so slowly that it's basically worthless. And the number one problem with this design is it's exposed and open. And so as you're driving, the sun comes in here and can just cook your phone, just the sun itself, which if you've ever left your phone sitting out in the sun, it gets cooked even when it's not charging. On top of that, you have the wireless charging going, and I don't know what the problem is with their wireless chargers, but they must be just really inefficient or something. And even when the sun is not on here, the phones get so hot they just can't charge. Now, I know it's possible because Joa, I use their wireless charger here, and I will drive around like this. And this is also exposed to the sun, as I said, is kind of my problem I'm thinking about with down here. And this doesn't get hot. This charges the phone, and the phone doesn't overheat. And it charges it the whole time, and it charges it really fast. So I would, of course, recommend my sponsors wireless charger, but practically it works. It always is charging my phone, and never a problem with this one, even when the sun's on it. So maybe part of that is because the air is blowing on it. But whatever it is, having this here is kind of needed if you want to do easy wireless charging. All right, I got busy, had to finish this later. You ready for a speed run on stuff with no explanation? I want a front display, a driver's display here. The cooled seats, they work, but not very well. I wish they were more powerful and more cold, The back window really should open and allow access to the bed in some way, even if it was manual. That would be awesome. Now, the last thing, I'm going to move over here to get some of my free solar charging that I'm going to kind of complain about is the amount of attention you're going to get is still really insane. And of course, I kind of knew that going into it. I didn't think it would be quite as crazy as it is. But even now, I think I'm about 5 months in, it is just, I mean, it is like 90% of people are pointing, taking pictures, they'll come up and talk to you. And part of that is kind of fun, you know, and enjoyable. Like I like talking to the people. I've given rides to like random people like, oh, check this out. You know, they hate EVs. And the first thing I got to do, and they're like, oh, EVs are stupid. I'm like, here, just come in, let me give you a ride. And a lot of them say no, but some people they probably think I'm going to take them away or something. But some of them, you know, will drive it or take a ride and they're like, well, this is sweet. So, but yeah, the attention part, there's a lot of attention. Like even just last night, I drove through downtown Fenton, which is a small downtown area, and someone else in Fenton has a Cybertruck. I haven't seen them, but I've heard about it. And it was like everybody in that downtown was pointing and taking pictures and giving thumbs up. And it's mostly positive, you know, people are like happy to see it and stuff. I think the people that don't like it just stay behind their keyboards and complain about it. And in real life, they probably just glare at you and, you know, maybe give you a middle finger after you've already passed by or something. I haven't seen any middle fingers. But the point is, like, if I just want to run out for something really quick, I try not to take the Cybertruck. I pretty much always take the Model Y if I can, because you ain't running out real quick for the most part. If someone sees you getting out or getting in, they're talking to you. It's almost every time. And I get it, you know, if it's your first time seeing it or second time seeing it, it's cool and it's interesting. And so I don't blame them and I don't mind talking to people, but it's just, I want to point that out. If you don't like that attention, then, you know, keep waiting because it's still here. And that's another, you know, comment I get a lot, like, oh, people only buy these because they want everyone's attention and they blah, blah, blah. And it's like, then no. Like I definitely bought it like partially for content for YouTube, but you know, when I'm commuting to work, why would I want attention? Like I'm just driving to work. I'm tired. I don't want to be going to work. Like leave me alone. And so that is the furthest from the truth for me, at least. I'm sure some people, you know, buy it for attention and like all the attention they get. But yeah, that's something you'll have to deal with, is lots and lots of people taking pictures, asking questions, coming up to you and all that. So just keep that in mind.